Information session is now called to order. At this time, we're going to look to our Commissioner Roberts, who will call for our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. You want me to do it? Very good. Father, we bless you and thank you now for this opportunity to come before your presence. And as we bow our heads before you, we ask for your governance and your guidance as we go forward in these proceedings tonight. We ask now that you will help us to hear, know, and understand what your will is concerning this city. And for those who should come into the city, we pray their safety and their protection. We pray now that you bless each one of these commissioners, all of our staff, our leadership as administrative city manager, our city's clerk, our city attorney. And we pray now that you would just hold us in the hollow of your hand and keep us ever so mindful of your will. This we pray in the precious and holy name of our Savior and Lord, Jesus Christ. And everyone said, Amen. Let us look to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we look to our city clerk. Do we have any guests?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we do. We have two guests. Our first guest is Ms. Pam Selden. Ms. Pam, if you'll step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Ms. Selden is here talking about road conditions.
Very good.
My name's Pam Selden. I live at 1809 Osceola Avenue here in Waycross, Georgia. Last week, I come up and I spoke with the city manager about the conditions of our road. We're a dead-end road, and my neighbor's here with me, and we've had no work done on that road for 50-plus years. City manager did come right out. He looked and talked to us about our concerns, and we had a big hole where the water was going up under the road, and we had some potholes, and it was city engineer come out the next day, and they come out and fixed it and repatched the holes. Well, one of them's already given in again, but I do want to thank them for their quick response. We still have several problems on that road. Most people think it's a dragway. We have small children out there, and we have requested a speed limit sign, speed bumps, something to slow these people down because they're doing every bit of 45 and 50. And you know, when you got a 3 or 4-year-old playing in the yard, if they get out of the fence, you ain't gonna stop fast enough. Even at 15, you're gonna hurt that child. We have a old condemned house that's been sitting there for years, and they have a sign on it to have it torn down, and he went down and he looked at it, and we're wanting that torn down too. We're trying to clean up our end of Osceola. Most of it on the left-hand side, the yards are kept clean and everything, and we're pretty good. It's just that road needs some attention, and we've spoke about drainage. Him and the engineer both talked to me about the drainage and everything, because we have no drainage whatsoever. And when it rains, I'm afraid that pothole that they filled up with dirt is going to come back again. It always has. We just wanted to come to the meeting and make everybody aware of it. And, you know, because he said nobody has complained about it. Of course, you know, my mother was 93 and she wasn't going to complain, and Wendell's mother, she wasn't going to complain. But I've been there 57 years and they've never done anything to that road since I've been there other than patch. And he's been there 62 years. And we're just wanting, I know we hear we don't have the money, but hopefully we're going to find something and get something done, because they need to do something, especially about the speeders on that road. And we have a lot of big trucks come through there, and I think that's why, where they patched just outside my driveway, I think that's why it's kind of sinking in the middle again, is because that big truck's coming through there. It's a tree truck, Townsend tree truck, and it's heavy, and you got UPS comes down there, FedEx, you know, and they're bigger trucks. They're not normal size vehicles, but they're also speeding too. But anyhow, that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Hill.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we have Tim Peacock. Mr. Peacock, step to the podium. 3 minutes. Mr. Peacock is coming to speak on District 4.
Okay, very good.
Tim Peacock, 906 Euclid Avenue. Mayor, Commissioners. Been contacted by a lot of folks from District 4 with concerns about the way things were handled at Monroe Park with Commissioner Hopkins' gazebo being put up and all. And quite a few of them has got bad feelings that the family was intentionally left out of that deal, and that we didn't see more commissioners at that program than we did. And it just seems like with the time it took to get that plaque made and everything, 3 or 4 days ahead of time, that we could have got together with the family and contacted the family. I know there's been some things said about not being able to get phone numbers and all like that, but everybody knows Marvin, everybody knows Mark. I feel sure it wouldn't have been a real big problem to have got a hold of the family. And we're already thrown under the bus with the way things have gone with the election and everything. And now the point that family was left out after 20 years of service from Diane, there just was no excuse for that. And there are a lot of people in an uproar over it. I've been contacted numerous times about it, and I think we need to get past the excuses and at least since we've already set a precedence for doing apology letters to citizens in this town, I don't see where it would be a big deal to do an apology letter to the Hopkins family in this case. I would hope that it wouldn't take an ethics complaint to get to that point, because that's where some people are at, is what do we have to do to get an apology letter sent to their family? And because like I say, Diane's done a lot in this town for 20 years. Some think so, some think not. But everybody's got their own opinion. And for the family to have been left out like they were, just no excuse for it. No excuse whatsoever. And everybody not showing up when that happened and only having one commissioner available, that was disrespect.
Thank you. Any other guests?
No, sir.
Okay. With that, we'll turn the remainder of our program over to our city's manager, and we'll deal with travel training requests and the remainder of our planning and information session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, we don't have any travel and training scheduled. We're moving to the planning and information session, and I'll move to the podium. Mr. Mayor, the vision and the mission remain the same. And because we have an audience, I'll leave it up a little bit longer for the audience to read. Mr. Mayor, the priorities have not changed. Mr. Mayor, the priorities for the broken down has not changed. I know we discussed at the retreat about adding a fifth priority and moving some of the items over. We're currently working that. We should have that ready for the next meeting. And I'll leave this up for a little bit longer for those in the audience who have not seen this before. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're moving to the city plan, 10-year plan, and I'll go ahead and kind of talk on this a little bit for those who might not be familiar with this chart. This is our chart for our 10-year plan for the city. We are in year 2 through 4 at this time, starting with year 2. Some of the actions we're going to be doing over the next 2 years, or next 4 years actually, is updating the programs, policies, ordinances, procedures, performance tracking as we discussed at the retreat. continuous improvement of standard-based workforce. Talked about additional training for our workforce during the retreat. Complete automation update of all IT systems. I will highlight this today. Mr. Simmons' team director has added a additional feature on the Tyler software update that will give the commission and the city workforce even more capabilities. We'll go into that at the next meeting, but it is free of charge. It does attach the city app with the work order process that you will be able to track yourselves from your phone as a commission. So we're excited about that. Even the citizens, once they put that work order in from the app on their phones, they'll be able to see the whole step-by-step process from notification of pothole to completion of pothole. So we're excited about that. Of course, we talked about infrastructure priority strategies. I will be requesting a standalone meeting for the SPLOSH utilization update sometime in May. We did meet with the directors, with some of the directors this morning, and we put a plan together. I think the commission will appreciate it. It does go by calendar years versus fiscal years, though, because the money is collected through SPLOSH by the calendar years. So, but you'll see that when we do the actual briefing, and of course, you know the rest of the stuff. Maintain quality delivery of city services. And since we have additional people in the audience today, I will touch on the budget. The budget review process will start in May. And of course, the theme of the budget review process is divest and invest. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're moving to bids. At this time, we only have one bid, and we're asking the commission to surplus 85 toner cartridges. This is because we have upgraded our printers, and those cartridges cannot be used. We plan to sell those cartridges on govdeals.com. Apologies.
And you need a consensus.
A consensus, yes, Mr. Mayor.
And I'll start with District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll move on to the next item, and we'll be briefed by Police Chief Tommy Cox.
Mr. Mayor, Commission,
Yes.
Good evening.
I'm here to speak with you this evening about the Bailey Street pool. Couple interesting facts you already know, but that is a county-owned pool. But same time, it's inside our jurisdiction, and they have reached out to us asking if our officers can work off-duty security at that location. In the past, it has been a discussion on, how that's going to be paid for, whether it be city paying for it since it's in our jurisdiction, or would it be the county paying for it since it's their property. When it's all said and done, the county is going to pay for us to be at that location, and it'll be officers who voluntarily sign up for it on their off day to come in. And so due to, like I said, some of the, I don't want to say controversy in the past, but, discussions in the past, we wanted to bring it forward to kind of get the blessing from the commission on it.
Very good.
And I have some of those dates if you're interested in them, on when the pool's going to be open. It's also my understanding that if they can't get security for it, the pool more likely will not be open. But for the 2025 season, it will open up on Memorial Day and continue operations until August the 2nd. With the exception of the opening day, the pool will be open Tuesday through Saturday and all remaining weekends. Daily operation of the pool will be 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. for general use.
And for that statement that you just made, this will also be on our website so that they'll be aware of this, or how will we generate conversation to our community?
Correct, Mr. Mayor. It'll be on the website and the Facebook page.
Okay, very good. Continue. You had more.
Yes, sir. I had something. I'll speak on the golf cart ordinance. If y'all ready for me to go with that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, if you wanted to, you needed a consensus on this first piece as far as the
Yes, sir. For
pool.
the security, just.
Okay, so what I'll do, I'll call the District 1,
Yes, sir.
District 2,
Yes, sir.
District 3,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have consensus on that one?
No,
I know you have a presentation.
Second thing I wanted to speak on is motorized cart usage inside the city of Waycross, and just kind of give some of the citizens kind of a heads up. I've already been in contact with Mr. Spearman about it, and we're working on some wording concerning motorized cart use, personal transportation vehicles, etc., use in our neighborhoods. Georgia law gives us some guidelines, but right now we're going through. Well, I'm trying to put something together that fits our community, primarily concerning safety and all that. So we're putting those final details together, and hopefully we'll be bringing it back to you sometime next month.
Very good. So is there any specific thing that you need from us at this time? It's just more point
No,
of
sir, it's
information?
more information.
Mhm.
Just let the citizens know that we're working on it. This is something that probably comes up every couple of years,
Yes, sir.
because we've got people in the community that do have these motorized carts, and they think they're following state law on it, which is not the case. Under Georgia law, it gives municipalities the authority to construct their own ordinance, and that's what we're trying to do right now. So we can put something on paper that that kind of fits our community. What works for us, might be different in Peachtree City and what they have. Or, and I think these golf cart ordinances, I mean, they're pretty standard throughout the state. A lot of communities have them.
Very good. So this basically what we'll need to do is craft and draft probably an ordinance or some form of a policy. We look at our legal and see what we can possibly do for that.
Yes, sir. And Brandy, the main thing I'm working on right now is trying to, they cannot be on any state road. Okay. But, and they're supposed to be on roadways only 35 miles per hour or under. But we're still, like I said, we're going to try to tailor it. Because there are some community areas of our city, that's, for example, Tebow Street. Well, I think it would be unsafe for a motorized car to be on Tebow Street. On Carswell Avenue, and on Knight Avenue, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of issues I'm kind of going through right now to try to tailor something that's good for us.
And haven't we seen motorized vehicles on those particular streets as well that you make mention?
We have at times, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So we certainly need to get on that so that we will be able to assist our citizens in safety.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may just interject, Mr. Curry, when he was here, actually drafted an initial motorized cart ordinance that Chief Cox shared with me based on the Blackshear model. And Chief Cox and I are working on that one, trying to expand it and make it fit the needs of the Waycross community. So he's just putting you on notice that it's coming.
Very good. Very good. Thank
and
you.
when we finish putting our heads together, we'll present a draft to you.
Very good. And thank you so much. But before we move further, there was a point of clarification, I believe. Okay, thank you. All right, just making sure it's back into your hands, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And another point of clarification, that should include four-wheelers too. I think we've been discussing that. A lot of, yeah, so that will be on there as well.
Okay. Very good.
Next, Mr. Mayor, we're moving to a home utilization request and presentation by Mr. Pastor Clint Floyd.
Minister Caleb Lancaster, Pastor.
And Clint Floyd is
Hey,
coming,
Clint Floyd.
Mr. Mayor. But I am not Clint Floyd.
I kind of looked at you and said no.
We're honored to be here. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, commissioners. My name is Caleb Lancaster. I have the privilege of serving as a senior pastor at Remnant Church. That's located right outside the city limits in Waycross. Today I come before you not just as a pastor, but as someone who loves this community. I was born in this community, raised in this community, and now I get to pastor this community. And I want to share an exciting vision that we're stepping into, one that we believe will bring hope, healing, and lasting change to individuals and to this community as a whole. Remnant Church has recently been entrusted with the property located at 406 Gilmore Street, formerly known as the Serenity House. This home carries a legacy of care, and we're honored to build upon that foundation. And we're in the process of fully restoring and repurposing this property and moving forward. It will be known as Legacy House. Legacy House will be a men's residential recovery and discipleship center offering 18-month faith-based programs specifically for men who are ready to break free from the grip of substance and alcohol abuse. But this is more than just recovery. It's about transformation. It's about discipleship. It's about creating a space for men to discover their identity and restore their dignity and walk forward in their true purpose. The name Legacy House is not just a title, but it's a declaration. We believe that every man who enters this home has the God-given potential to rise above addiction and build a legacy of freedom, a legacy of faith, a legacy of strength that changes not only his life, but his family's life, his children's life, and generations to come, truly leaving a legacy. We've cleared the house of all the old furniture and debris. We've cleaned up the yards, but we know there's a whole lot to do, a lot more work ahead. And we're committed to doing it the right way. And so that's why we're here today. We understand that the property will need to be rezoned in order to function as we envision. And we're ready and willing to go through the proper steps, whatever they may be, to make that happen. We're eager to work in partnership with this great commission, our mayor, the staff here, the City of Waycross, Director Mark Hawkins, the Community Improvement Department, to ensure this house is brought up to code and prepared to serve our community with excellence. We have talked to Commissioner Fielder, and we have she's been very helpful, and we appreciate her willingness to work with us. At Remnant Church, we have a core value that drives everything that we do. We believe excellence honors God and inspires people. And that will be our standard for Legacy House. This is not a halfway house. This is not a place where people come and stay for a week. This is a place where men's lives will be changed. As a key part of our commitment to excellence and accountability, we want to inform the Commission that the Legacy House will be actively pursuing certification through the Georgia Association of Recovery Residences, known as GAR. GAR certification ensures that recovery residents operate with the highest standards of integrity, safety, and effectiveness. Mr. Mayor, being GAR certified means that our program will meet or exceed state-recognized practices in areas such as residential care and safety, program structure, facility operations, and ethical leadership. This certification is not just a badge, but it's a promise to the men that we serve, their families, and our city that Legacy House will be a place of professionalism, structure, and hope. It reinforces our commitment to build something trustworthy, sustainable, and life-changing. But let me be clear, this is a faith-based program. We're unapologetically centered on the life-changing power of Jesus Christ. And we've seen that what God can do in broken lives and how He takes what's been torn down and builds it back better than ever, stronger than before. And we believe with the right environment, the right guidance, and the power of God that these men will leave behind addiction and step into freedom and responsibility. Legacy House will not be a burden on this community, I promise you. It will be a blessing. A lighthouse of hope for those lost in addiction, a place where men don't just recover, but they become restored. They become leaders. They become legacy builders. We don't have a male shortage in South Georgia. We have a man shortage. Amen. And we want to see males become men of God. And I want to thank you for your time. I thank you for allowing us to be part of this. I was told I have 10 minutes, and I know I've only used like 2. And so...
Watch it, preacher.
Thank you. We want to change this community one life one home, one legacy at a time. And I want to turn the mic over to Stephanie Goddard, who's the coordinator of Accountability Court here in Ware County. And she would give us more insight today on the need of services that the Legacy House will provide. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank y'all. So I work with Accountability Court, which is drug court and mental health court here. We started in 2008, and I have been there from the beginning. I also work with Unison Behavioral Health, and I have been with them for 29 years. Males facilities for recovery are so needed in our community. Right now for us, we serve 60% of our participants are males. And when they come out of the jails, most of the time, the number one thing that makes them fail in our program is they have nowhere affordable or safe to go live. So having this recovery house, most of the time what happens is we have to send them to another community, which is a shame because the great state of Waycross here, great county of Waycross, we're so great. I would love to be able to tell other participants and coordinators in other counties that, hey, send them to Waycross. We have a great recovery center here. We have worked with Remnant Church through Celebrate Recovery for many years. We send a lot of our participants out there to get their lives changed and then be involved in their programs. And because of that, I am 100% on board in supporting their program. It is much needed, and I know very well that this church will run it to where it needs to be. We'll follow all of the rules and will ensure that it becomes a thriving place for Ware County. So I ask for your support in this to get it rezoned. When it was Serenity House, we worked with Serenity House, and when it was great. When we lost Serenity House, that's when we started seeing our failure rate go down because we had nowhere to send these men. So I encourage you today, men in recovery need a fighting chance. And if we can offer that in Waycross, then I am 100% on board.
Thank you guys so much for your time. Pastor's going to pass out an itinerary of our three-phase program and what it is.
You can give it to the city manager, and he'll make sure that we all get it.
I stand here today. I'm so humbled to be in your presence. And the reason why is I'm a 3-time convicted felon. I did 3 years in prison, and I'm going to heaven.
Amen.
God has changed my life. And he's given me an opportunity to be a director of this program. And I'm going to commit the remaining years of my life to this program to see it through like what God has did in my life. We need godly men in our families, not just in this community, but we need godly men leading our families to him. I wouldn't be standing before you today without the grace of God.
Amen.
And I'm so honored to be able to stand up here and tell you just a piece of my story. But I'm more excited to be able to reach into men's life and tell them God can change your life. And from the bottom of my heart, with the utmost respect, I want to thank you for your time here today and your service to this community. And I'm so honored to stand before you today and share my heart. Thank each and every one of you for your service. City Manager, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we almost had church here, Mayor.
Amen.
Hallelujah. All right, God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.
We know the family's leaving, so we're going to wait. Thank you. Be safe out there, bro, Taylor. All right, back to the city manager.
All the people outside.
Okay, all right.
It's the crowd outside.
It's a crowd outside. Yes.
Before we move on, Mr. Mayor, we will need to talk about this, and I think we have executive session for personnel and property tonight,
Okay,
so we will need to discuss this further. Next, Mr. Mayor.
so we can push this forward later.
Yes.
where we can do executive session. So we'll have a motion tonight for that. Okay, very good.
Next, Mr. Mayor, we'll move to a presentation from Ethan Jackson's investment by Ms. Aurora Taylor, and she's doing a project adjustment request.
Very good.
I don't quite have the eloquence to follow that, but I'll keep it simple. We're looking to get an administrative variance for the project on Brunel and Howe, the apartment complexes. We talked about it before, where we were planning to do gravel parking lots to reduce the amount of pervious surface with how wet that property is. In the city of Waycross, we have to get an official approval from the city commission to do gravel instead of paved. We're hoping to get that tonight. The property is indeed wet. Our geotech report shows that we have groundwater 6 inches from the surface, so we really don't even have the room to dig and put a parking lot. And it would be much better for the environment, better for that street, better for the existing stormwater facilities that are there for us to do gravel. We're gonna do a large heavy rock base that stays in place even during hurricanes with crush and run on top. And so that'll compact down really nicely and it'll stay in place. It shouldn't impact the stormwater facilities. We've reviewed it so far. And we're having the ESG engineers officially review that. But they also thought that it would be better for the street to have gravel lots. So we're just looking for that official approval.
Okay. We're going to have questions about that, I'm sure. And one of the major issues that we've had in times past, we've had others to come in for the same kind of thing. And for us to give way to this particular way of doing now, that would mean other entities that have come before us are going to have some real serious issues about that, because we just, within a couple of years, we've had this conversation before. But I'll leave this to the commission anyway. I don't have a voice when it comes down to the vote, but I do have a voice when it comes down to the annotation around it. So what I want to make sure we remember, what we do for one, we do for all. And if we're going to start that, that means that's going to start moving toward other places as well. And many of the businesses that have started, including funeral homes and travel agencies, have had this same question. So I'm wondering, what we can do if there is something that can be done, and I'm not certain if the community improvement have anything to say regarding that, but I'll look to the city manager if he has something to add to that.
Mr. Mayor, that's why we called for the executive session on property. There's some other factors that's involved with this that we can't discuss out,
Okay, I got you.
So,
Well, this is just an introduction, so I got you. And thank you. And I know that you wanted a response, so I can't give one at this moment because there's still more meeting to be had before there can be a decision given.
Okay, that works for us. We just wanted to introduce it. I'm sure the city will go over the additional considerations for the property as well. Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
I appreciate you and thank you, sir.
Y'all have a good evening.
Mhm.
Good evening.
Mr. City Manager.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, we'll move to the Phoenix Park statue, relocation of statue. As you know, this came before the commission, I believe in the first time it was in 2021, maybe at that
It was
time.
2021, April,
21.
same month.
And the commission did make a decision for the owners of the statue to come pick it up. That did not happen. Some statute of law has changed since then, and I'm bringing it back before the commission on request of commission that that request goes back out again formally for them to come and remove it, and then we go from there. As a reminder, it's already been passed. We have a resolution on this act already from that time frame, but I was asked to put it back on the agenda. So I am. We do have a few locations or interested parties for the statue. I did speak with them on my first arrival here. That was a couple years ago. I'm going to assume they would still be interested in a new location for that statue. But of course, it's by the resolution, the citizens have to come and pick it up. And I'm gonna pause, Mr. Mayor, and the city attorney might want to add a little bit to that, and then we'll turn back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
I was going to say, because I know we've had this discussion for about 2 years straight, and
Yes.
I've been to court on this one.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, the law in Georgia did change in 2019 in response to some other things that were going on around the country. For an example, in August of let me just back up. In 2015, we had the Dillon Roof incident, where 9 black churchgoers at a historical black church in Charleston, South Carolina, were killed by
Mother
Mr.
Emanuel.
Ruth. You remember that? And he had pictures. Mr. Ruth had pictures posing with the Confederate battle emblem. Then in 2017, there was a large white nationalist rally titled "Unite the Right" assembled in Charlottesville, Virginia, to protest the removal of a statue of Robert E. Lee from the Charlottesville Emancipation Park. And of course, then President Trump offered a weak rebuke of white nationalist crowd by comparing them to the counter-protesters, saying there were fine people on both sides. And then in 2020, there was the murder of George Floyd. And as a result of these incidents that went around, that occurred around the country, a lot of these statues, Confederate monuments, were moved without objection. But then some states like Georgia decided to change the law to make it more difficult to move these monuments. So in 2019, Georgia passed the 2019 Monument Protection Act. And that act provides that it provides protection for publicly owned monuments located in publicly owned parks. You can't move them. It also provided protection for privately owned monuments in privately owned property. But what it did not do is provide protection for privately owned monuments in public spaces. So I understand that the statute in Phoenix Park is privately owned, so there's no protection under the law for that. And I understand that the commission has already adopted a resolution to have that,
Right.
to require that it be moved. So going forward, the commission can now put some teeth behind this resolution in order that statute be removed if that's your desire.
Okay, so are we talking about bringing this back for another vote?
Well, I haven't seen the resolution.
Because
Resolution.
when we did this some time back, this was April 2021,
Okay.
and it continued up into 2023 and into some portions of 24. It kept popping back up. I actually sat in a hearing regarding this very same thing. Matter of fact, we were called to court, state court, and at that time, Mr. Curry was he represented. I sat as a representative of the 3 council that voted, which would have been districts 1, 2, and 3 that voted at that time. And as a result of that, I didn't know, because I know something came up after that. And I think this new ordinance that you just made mention of, that came after the fact, it was not an ordinance, it's actually a law.
It was state law.
Yeah, the law that
State
was
law.
made. And I recall that there were places that had taken those monuments down that had to go back and place them back, or either put them back in those places again. So this is the conversation we had, I know, especially in Stone Mountain and different other places of that sort. So my question is really around the idea of what are we doing now? Are we trying to have the organizations that are together to come move this? Because that was what they went to court for, and they said they weren't moving it. So my question is, what are we doing? Because the city can't. I know we had several persons to come in to make comments on this is city property, these are privately owned statues and canon, and those persons need to come and get those things off. We shouldn't have our staff cleaning them or we're owed remuneration and reparations for having cleaned them during that time frame. And understandably, we had full history on it from 1910 to present date. And we constantly were being told, without a shadow of a doubt, it need to be moved. But my question to city manager and to our city attorney, what steps do you see us taking to do anything different from what we've already done?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, the law was always there. It was there when the previous attorney did it. I don't want to go into all that again.
Well, I understand that the
Yeah.
law was there, but the new law that came in,
No, Mr. Mayor,
right, was supposed. It sounded as if it was telling us to leave it alone, but the reality is, it's now, understandably, you've shown that at one point, one law regards property privately owned, the other is publicly owned and public property.
Right.
Ours is a mix.
Right.
It is a privately owned, and the argument that those who were standing to keep it there is that it belongs to us. So they're trying to make it say that the city owns it, and it has been there this long, and that's where our conversation is. So do we have something in writing saying that it does not belong to the city of Waycross?
Or do you have something that says that it does belong to the city?
That part, both of them.
But Mr. Mayor, let me say this. So 2019, the law was already there, and that's where the friction was. And I'm finished thought of tit with that.
But I understand exactly
yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure before
Yeah.
we make steps that we make the proper steps, and that I have because we're going to have the backing of the commission to do whatever is necessary. But it'll be the commission that makes the decision, but it'll be me sitting in the chair.
Gotcha. And we've had that discussion at the retreat. Who will get the full blast of this? But at the same
Okay,
time,
I just wanted to make you know.
when it was voted on the first time, every time the commission tell me to bring someone on the agenda, I do. Was voted on the first time, we was told that we couldn't do it for various reasons, which was not true. That's all I'm gonna say. That was not true. That law was already there, so it should have been moved that time frame. So the information given to the commission was not right at that time frame.
Okay.
Although the commission still voted on to move it, but then you were told it'll be litigation based off of whatever. But the law then in 2019 stated what it was. It's on it's on city property actually, and it's a private statute. So the city was always in the right from the get-go. We were just told we couldn't do it for other reasons, which we get to
Understandable.
if need be. So
My question again, just before making any form of a decision, is what is it that we are asked to do tonight? What is the?
Well, I'm asking the commission because brought to me to put on the agenda. It still stands. Do we move it, get it moved, send a letter back out, or we just leave it alone? I mean, at this point.
So going back to my statement one more time,
Mhm.
we'd already voted to move it.
To move, yes.
So with the concurrence, I'm thinking that everybody concurs that it's to be moved.
Mhm.
That's what this
Yes.
commission has said. But my question now is, what is it that we would be talking about if it's already been voted on and already?
Mhm.
What are we doing?
Well, that decision needs to be implemented. But let me ask this question. When you went to court, was there an order from the judge, one way or the other, with regard to moving that monument?
That's a good question, because that should have been filed with us, or at least we should have copies of what took place during that time frame. And that would have been under Mr. Curry.
Again, a lot of things were not done correctly during that time frame. So,
Okay, so
yeah.
I'm good with what you're saying,
Yes.
but just making sure that if you don't see it in any of our paperwork and nobody else knows where it's located, we're going to have to check with the court to find out if there was a disposition given regarding this. And I'm thinking that it was just a hearing, and we didn't get any response back from it afterwards. I don't recall having anything, and I've talked to presidents of different organizations that are a part of holding the statue there, because they've come in and had meetings with me. So that's why I'm saying we want to make sure when we're making these statements that we have something. That's why I asked about paper. Do we have something saying we don't own it? Because that was the argument in the case, that we owned it. So
Well,
my question is, if it's not saying we don't own it or we do own it, and we don't have any paperwork on it, we still go forward as we've already done, or do we need to do this again? Do we go through
Well,
this
again, it
process?
sounds like the commission considered whatever needed to be considered at that time, and then you adopted a resolution requiring that it be moved. I'm hearing all of this really for the first time, so I'd like to have an opportunity to see what the resolution says and see how it ended in court, just to be able to give you better direction. I mean, it sounds like you're within your rights, but I can't say that definitively until I see what the record reveals. I mean, I just don't know. I'm hearing it for the first time tonight.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And next, we'll move into a infrastructure and property setback requirements requested change, and it will be presented by Mr. Mark Hawkins.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, so as a repeat of what we discussed at the last work session, just as conversation, looking at the city of Douglas, city of Valdosta, some of the cities that we're normally compared to, looking at so our smallest lot size would be the R50 residential. City of Douglas looked at their smallest lot size, and the city of Valdosta, per zoning, what their smallest lots would equal. The city of Douglas, their minimum lot size is 9,000 square foot with a minimum lot width of 70 foot of frontage. The minimum side setback from the property lines to the structure is 7.5 feet, and then their minimum square foot for homes is 900 square foot. City of Valdosta, their minimum lot size is 6,000 square feet with a minimum lot width of 60 feet and a minimum setback of 8 feet with a minimum square footage. All these are heated square foot of 800 square feet. Our minimum lot size is 5,000 square feet with a minimum lot size of 50 feet. The one big difference from ours and theirs is the minimum side yard setback in the R50 is 6 foot on one side, but both sides have to equal 15. Whereas Valdosta and Douglas, it was just 7.5 feet on either side, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we did, and our minimum square footage of homes is 1,000 square feet, but then we've got that caveat that I'll show you also that says you take the average of the homes in that same block, and so you build to that. So if the average in that block is 2,500 square feet, you have to build a 2,500 square foot home. If the average is 800 square feet, you can go down to 800 square feet. So we had that caveat, the others didn't. They just had a minimum square footage. And then when you go through both Douglas and Valdosta, as your zoning changes, like ours, we have R50, R75, R90, and RS. They have different zoning districts. Their lots get bigger just like ours do, but their minimum square footage kind of stays the same. So our minimum front yard setback, and I just took the RS, R90, R75, and R50. That's the four biggest. If you go to, we also have R50MH, R75MH, and RM75, which all allow mobile homes. When you get to the setbacks and the yard requirements, they point you back to either R75 or R50. So this is just kind of an idea of what each one will look like. The front setbacks, with this, these are all from property lines, not from streets, so these are from property lines. So I was going to get your opinion on if you want to leave those minimum front yards the same, or if you want to reduce those. You see the rear yards are 30 feet for RS and R90, and 25 feet for R75 and R50. And then you see the minimum square footage per dwelling unit. So RS obviously is single family only, so you can't have duplexes. But once you get to R50, R75, and R90, you can have duplexes or multifamily. The way it was written, each house or duplex, each dwelling unit, so if you've got a duplex, there's two dwelling units, each one has to be 1,000 square foot. Or if you take the average and it's 800 square foot, then each side of that duplex is 800 square foot. Again, the minimum front yard, this goes to multifamily. They're pretty much the same. And then when you get to the multifamily, the square footage is the same as well. This is the caveat that I was talking about, and it's a whole lot of wordage, basically just to say you take the average of that block and you build to that average. So that's where there's some differences between ours. And if, on the side yard setbacks, I did go through, and as we talked, and again, any of these changes would have to go through the planning commission. They make their recommendation, then we bring it back here for a public hearing. One of the recommendations that I have was to take out our side yard setbacks where it says, so in R50 for instance, the setback was 6 foot on one side and both sides had to equal 15. Just take out the both sides and then it would just be a minimum of 6.5 or 6 foot on either side. The only difference would be where that property is on a street corner. Right now in the R50, if it's next to a major or collector street, that setback would be 20 feet. If it's a minor street, it would be 17 feet, and then the other side would still be 6. So that's something that we can look at to reduce if we needed to there. But just trying to get what this commission wants to do as far as if they want anything changed with the front setbacks, the rear yards, and then the minimum square footage for homes.
What is your recommendation?
Mine? Again, so the side yard setbacks, like I said, I took that out to where it was at. The front yard setbacks, there's another section in there that, so we do have some streets where the houses are a little closer. There is a section in section 6 that would allow you to move that house. So if the houses are closer to the street, you can line up with the houses that are there. So there's already a little provision there. The only problem where that wouldn't be, or not problem, the only situation where that wouldn't be helpful is if there's no houses on that street, then that front setback would come in. The rear yard, looking at Valdosta and Douglas, again, some of theirs were 15 feet of rear yard, some were 20 feet, and then some were 25 feet. So, and then a couple of them, their front setbacks were a little shorter. So, if anything, I would, keep in mind with R50 again, so if you've got 6 feet on each side of your house, that would, if I'm 6 foot from my property line, you're 6 foot from that same property line, there's 12 foot between you. Mm-hmm. When you start getting below 10 foot, then you have to start looking at firewalls. The fire code says also that you want so much room between the buildings so that you can get two firemen and a hose between them, so they recommend at least 10 foot. So I wouldn't recommend going below 6 foot on a side yard setback. For R75, that side yard is 8 feet. For R90 and RS, that side yard would be 10 feet. And again, those lots are bigger, so they could have bigger houses. Some of those might be 2 stories, so you start looking at some of that. We could go 6 foot straight across, or we could just leave that 6 foot for R50, 8 foot for R75, and 10 foot for R90 and RS. And then, like I said, it would just be taken out where they have to equal. Because like in the RS and the R90, you've got 10 foot on one side, both sides have to equal 25, so you would have 10 and 15, so it would give them an extra 5 foot to work with there. And then an R90 it would give you an extra 3 foot that you can build there. And then the square footage for the houses, again, I would not go below 800 square foot. That kind of seems to be the average. Once you start getting below that, it does start getting a lot smaller. Take for instance the houses on Carswell, just past, or I think it's right before the Nelson Green Center.
I understand.
2 houses there.
Mm-hmm.
They're just over 800 square foot, and you can tell they're kind of small.
So, like the tiny house thing that we've been talking about at some given point, those houses would not be in alignment with what you're talking about.
Correct. And I talked with the regional commission. There are some places where they did tiny house communities. So what they did was took let's say the lot behind Kroger. They just rezoned that one lot for tiny house community. Instead of putting them all over the city, they just kind of put them in one lot.
Okay.
So if you took that or another big lot, Scout Lake, or trying to think of empty lots where you could rezone a big area and make that a tiny home community. So, and what they did say was that it did affect, you know, if you put a tiny house between two 2,000 square foot houses, it would bring down the property values of those two houses. So
That was a concern we had some time ago when we were
Right.
talking about homelessness and building homes that would be affordable, but then in these neighborhoods, they would have to meet certain requirements, and so you're talking about average square feet footage. So I understand exactly.
And the city of Savannah did one, it's a tiny home community. It was for veterans that were homeless.
That was the other one.
But it's in a section and it's just one lot. And I don't know if the city owns it or if the developer owns it, but they made that a tiny home community for veterans. So.
Mr. Mayor, if I can, I know you asked a question on Ms. Hawkins' recommendation. And I know this was a request by the commission to get some feedback on this. We might need just to, I don't know how we do this, to go look at some of the lots, because the problem is we do have investors come in who do want to rehab the big homes, you know, and then that's more of a code thing, industrial in size. And then we have a lot of those vacant lots, and nobody's come in to build those big homes on those vacant lots. So it's a twofold problem. And maybe this is something we, you know, do outside. I mean, we can put it in the paper and everything to make sure everybody has a clear understanding what's being asked. There's no one size fits all. I will say, some other cities, although they have their stuff documented, they're a lot looser on their policies. Douglas, I mean, you know, but so maybe we need to go that direction, that approach, versus this. I know Mark just wanted to give you, and again, Mark knows what he's talking about. He does this every day. But it is just numbers and words right now until you got there and actually look at it. And like I said, we're so unique with the makeup of our neighborhoods that we definitely couldn't do a one size fits all scenario. So I'll try to set out some dates to the commission to kind of really look at this on the ground. I think you have a better understanding of what Mark's saying if you can look at it on the ground. I think we got 4 or 5 homes we can go look at and lots to kind of better depict some recommendations that he's making right now. So, like I said, we do have people coming in to rehab those big homes, and again, I think that's more of a change in how we allow that to happen. And then the other problem would be the smaller lots. Nobody's going to build from scratch, not a big home. So, and I'll stop there, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
And I can say that, so talking with the regional commission on some of these smaller lots, if we had a big area where we had a bunch of smaller lots, we could rezone that. But our smaller lots seem to be just here and there, everywhere. So we do have the Board of Zoning Appeals where, you know, if somebody owns that lot, they can come seek a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals to reduce setbacks, reduce some of that. One thing that they did mention was that we could put in there an administrative review to where if it's 10 or 15% less than the requirements, then we could do that in-house instead of making them go through the Board of Zoning Appeals. So that's an option that we could look at, just that it would kind of speed it up, even though the Board of Zoning Appeals meets once a month. And as long as we have the property posted in 15 days, we can get it. And it's, when they make their decision, it's final that day. But the administrative review, some cities have it, some don't. It just gives staff a little leeway to, you know, if the lot says it has to be 50 foot and it's 45, that's less than 10%, then staff can do that in-house and move forward. So that's something that we can look at. So, but like Mr. Rayford said, this is just to try and get some feedback on exactly what the commission's looking for so that we can address those issues.
Okay. Well, what I'll do, if you don't mind, I'm going to open the floor to the commission. That they may just talk freely to you about the setbacks. And I'll start with District 1. Any comments he may have, and then afterwards District 2 and 3 and 5. Okay. District 2.
No, sir, I'm just gonna go along with what the city manager said.
Okay. and District 3.
Yes, I have a question or two, Mayor. Mark, regarding some of these homes with these issues regarding the lot size, can you kind of just maybe give the commission some examples of where you've seen this at? That kind of poses an issue. Do you see it more so in one district as opposed to another? Or it's
Not
kind of
really. Like
spread
I
out
said,
throughout the entire city?
The lots that we have that are undeveloped, they're kind of just, they're in every district. And it's just the way that stuff was drawn up. Maybe it was family land and they kind of subdivided it and then each person started getting some. And so it's just kind of a hodgepodge throughout the city. It's not any one district. But there are some where, like I said, just say R50, it requires it to be 50 foot wide and at least 5,000 square foot. I know there's one on the north side in District 1 that it's only 40 feet wide and 80 foot deep. So they could seek variances to build on that just to reduce the setbacks and the yard size. And there, I don't think there's a lot of houses in there, so it might be where in that situation, you know, shrinking down the square footage of the house to 800 or 900 square foot would benefit them to be able to build a house on that and develop that. But as far as it just being a daily thing, it's not that often. With the Board of Zoning Appeals, if we were seeing a lot of developers or property owners coming to seek variances to reduce yard setbacks or reduce things, obviously then we know that we've got an issue and we need to address it. But as far as setbacks, they're few and far, or variances, they're kind of few and far between. So these lots are just kind of just a hodgepodge, and they're just kind of wherever, if that answers your question.
It does. Also, regarding these lots, it's a mixture of, I guess, public and privately owned.
Most of them are privately owned. The city does have some lots that are kind of close to being developable. The city has some also that are just little slivers that might have been old right-of-ways or easements on it, so we just got a sliver that obviously can't do anything with, or if it's a misshaped triangle or something that we took in as part of a road. The majority of them would be privately owned.
Thank you.
And I think some of those lots were even requested to be utilized for green space
Gardens
and gardens.
Yes, sir. We had one out on Nichols, and I think one or two in District 1, I think.
Okay. And District 5.
Yes, sir. My desire when I first came and asked about these lot sizes was because there's a lot of lots down Pittman, Thomas Street and area. And I appreciate all those numbers, but they're Spanish to me. R50, I would assume, is more like the Thomas Street area and the Pittman.
So R50 covers a good bit of, so you've got R50MH, which will cover some of Long Buick, Short Buick.
Yes.
It cuts in there.
MLK.
R50, which was some mobile homes. Then you get the Ossie Davis, it turns into R50. A lot of that is R50 until you get over to College Street, Bailey Street.
Yeah.
Those two are RS single family. And then you've got a little bit on Quarterman from, what's the side street on Colley, by College Street School? Is it Buchanan? No.
Club? No.
Anyway, from the side street next to there over to Dorothy Street, there's a little section that's RS, and then when you start going back towards Vernon Street, that gets into R75.
Okay.
RS is, there's a little section there. There's majority of Cherokee Heights is RS, and then honestly, majority of our properties are R50, except for that little section there, and then there's Assembly and those where the brick homes are there.
Yeah.
That's R75 and some R90.
Well, my concern was because Hudson Street and Spurgeon Street in those areas, they have small lots as well. And in your mind's eye, since you've been around town, can you see yourself putting an 800-foot home down Pittman Street or Thomas Street in those lots? Because I don't know.
Actually, yes, sir. There are a lot of those lots. The homes that are there, the current homes, are what they call the old shotgun houses.
Yes.
And they're no more than 750.
Okay.
Some of them are 750, which are really tiny, but no more than 900, maybe 925.
Okay.
So yeah, 800 square foot
Okay.
home, I believe, would fit there. And 800 is. It sounds small, but it's pretty big.
Okay.
I mean, if you went in these houses on Carswell, they look small, but they're 3-bedroom, 2-bath. They actually have good size kitchens, bathrooms, bedrooms.
Okay.
We've got a developer building some. He's fixing to build 5 on Martin Luther King that are right at 1,100 square feet.
Okay.
So,
Well, we can add that visit for the Thomas Street area and the Hutchin and Spurgeon Street, because there's a lot of vacant lots over there that people don't automatically know that they can, or they have the option to go before the zoning board to get it done.
and we always tell them when they come up and want to build that they have those options.
Yes. Okay.
So,
Okay. Cool. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
but I would, like I said, the one thing I see again would be the side yard setbacks. Just make that clear. That it's the same on both sides except for where it's on the side streets. And then the only other thing I would see is reducing that, or just leave that caveat in there where they build to the average of that area,
Okay.
which would give them that. So if the houses on Thomas Street in that block are 750, they can build a 750 square foot house.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Next, Mr. Mayor, we're moving to the utilities rate increases conversation. We did discuss this in detail at the retreat, and I will say up front, I had another meeting with the engineering team some Sunday and Monday. We discussed a few things based off of some of the conversations at the retreat. So some of this is like a phased approach. Bottom line up front, everybody knows how old our systems are as far as infrastructure. We've seen these slides numerous times now. We had the young lady just on Osceola just speaking. I did go out there on that street, and we got a lot of streets that way that need and they have no lines out there at all. But it just depicts how old the systems are, how old the streets are. I did go back and look at we do have some core samples and some historical data. And she's right, that street has not been done since I think it was 61. So still a long time. So after talking to the team about some things, we will never catch up what we're doing right now. This bottom line up front, the amount of revenue we're bringing in, which started this conversation, we will never catch up fixing our water and sewer. It will continue to get worse. During the finance update last year, when we were going through the budget brief, we discussed that the water and sewer brought in about $7 million, and that's just to keep everything going. That's not include all the fixes. And then we do typically have been pulling out the general fund to fix some of those projects, and we just don't have, or worst case, we finance stuff, and that carries the debt a lot longer. We still carrying debt from 10 years ago on projects with water and sewer, and that is killing us right now. And because we're carrying that debt, monthly, weekly, monthly, yearly, like I said, we don't have any cash assets or cash flow to pick up new stuff. So I want to make that clear. So the first conversation should be raising the rates, and that's discussed at the retreat. Maybe 3% is too low. That was like $1. After 3 years, it's been like $1.25. That would give us just enough amount of money to put in for some grants as matching money, and that would be helpful. But it would still be prolonging the inevitable. But that's the first piece of this. The next piece I want to talk about some of the different equations that was given from both of our presenters. Once again, they were saying the same thing. So Charlie just focused on the revenue creation, and Mr. Powell was looking at the usage and I guess the usage, how we track the usage, which would be total usage versus the meter size, which a lot of cities do. He was right about that. But to do that, we do got to have the software update, which we don't have yet. We do got to have all our meters working in place, which we don't have yet. And once we did that, we could go to that, total usage versus meter size. So, in theory, the commercial will be paying more. Haven't seen that yet as far as the data, but it will be paying more. So what I'm telling the commission, because we've been talking about this for a lot of times, we need to make a decision. And let me go back. We can, actually we already passed a resolution on this. We can keep that same resolution, just change it to move the date. Actually, it's already in there. We can make it the rates go up later on in the year to help the citizens during the non-peak season. So that would mean maybe November 1st, October 1st, those two will take effect. We're still about a year away for the software getting updated and fully implemented. So after that year, I'll have to come back then and look at how we do the utilities building. And we could do that then. But once again, that'd be a year away. And then we could change that process. So I'm telling the commission now, I'm gonna go down. I think we took it out. We need to do something. It's point blank. We got to do something, which means we need to look at raising the rates. We need to update the software. We're doing that. We need to replace the meters, and that's part of this conversation as well. And you heard the numbers on that. That 500,000, that would mean a total replacement. That means our own backbone, meter installation, everything. We don't have to do that. Right now, I'm thinking the number was about 350,000, and that would be us getting on the backbone of Georgia Power, and then that monthly bill will only be now $1,800 a month, which would be good for us long term until we could decide maybe to store some funding and then create our own backbone later on down the road. So, like I said, I brought it to the commission a few times before, so I'm just asking again, what is the will of the commission? Do we, really don't want to do another meeting on this? If we don't want to do anything at this time right here, I just focus on getting the software implemented. That's the key factor, and then getting these meters changed over, because the meters will bring in more. The new meters, new system will bring in more revenue, because we'll be able to accurately track the revenue. Right now, we're not tracking the revenue properly because the meters don't work. So with the new meters, we'll be able to do a lot.
I want to say something here, if you don't mind me interrupting, but
Yes.
This shouldn't have to be an either or. This can be a both and.
It can be.
We can go ahead and implement what you've already presented to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time progresses and the other software gets in, then we can go back and we can redo, as we're doing with some of these other events, make a vote and then go back to the potential work that was stated to us. Charlie's way could be the starter,
Yes.
and Mr. Powers' way could be the closer.
Correct.
So I'm just to the point now. I know we need to go ahead and do something before it gets worse, because we already see. She said it, before you can get the gravel down or before you can cover the pothole, just a good rain and it's gone, and you going back out to do the same thing you just did. And if you're doing that all over Waycross, you're using a lot of resources that could be used better in this particular case. So that's my suggestion based upon your statement, but that would be the commission to make that determination. And I'll open the floor for conversation around it, because we've heard this multiple times.
Correct.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, Commissioner.
Thanks, sir. Your suggestion of going with the one that's already on the books, the resolution that's already there, it would be my choice to just add to that the business portion of it, and then come back, as the mayor said, just address the meter thing, and we can include that all together. So either way, we need to go ahead and jump on this right away.
Correct, Commissioner.
So let's go back. Now, we said 3% on the residents. Is that correct?
Correct.
and then 7% on businesses?
So the 7%, if you again, both of the presenters said the same thing. Currently, where we set up, commercial users use more water and pay less.
Yeah.
So to correct that inversion, it would be a 7% increase. And Ms. Powell said 10%. If you look at his notes.
Right, I
So,
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
My concern, because I know he was basically taking it up to maybe $22.
yes.
But when you're looking at just listening to the conversation on both sides, it's somewhat of a incremental step.
Mhm.
We're doing it little bit by little bit, step by step, and then this would ease into it as opposed to jumping into the deep end of the pool and not knowing how to swim. So in this particular portion of it, it seems like it would be a better route to start with the, I don't want to say the Charlie plan, but the start with that and then come back and do the power plan.
Yeah, and again, with that 3%, at the end of the year, you talk about the matching money for the 3.5 million we would generate for the grant, and we'll be able to, that would do a lot for us. So, I'm whatever the commission wants to do, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
Okay,
So-
well, we had a statement and I open the floor. Commission, District 1, did you have a comment or?
No, sir.
Okay, District 2, anything you want to share or thoughts across your mind? I know you've already said whatever has been said, I'm satisfied.
You're right, but let me just add, I'm not sure if you was here, but I had a constituent come to me about Osceola, and I mentioned Osceola before, so this is nothing new. I don't think you was here, and you're absolutely correct. And the young lady, you patch it up, and it's still messing up. That's like on Sweat Street and Congress Street. You all did the work, but it's still water coming out there. So I agree, we need to move forward.
And again, so the patching of the asphalt or the cement, that's mainly to the utilities issues that we have, the old piping.
Yes,
So,
sir.
and again, all that's failing right now. Like I said, it was 1961. It's another great example of when the road got put down and the drainage got put in, or lack of drainage getting put in. So the 3% increase for both the residential and commercial, and then the 7% right sizing of the commercial versus residential. If we started there this first year, we'd always the resolution that's currently states we always come back to the commission and change the numbers if need be. But this first year, if we did that, it'll give us time to get the software implemented, get the meters, all the meters put in, which would then track the correct amount of usage as far as water. That would actually bring in additional revenue and put us in a better space. And then after we get all that done, we can look at changing how we utility bill usage will be on the back end of that. So probably a 2-year process, if you look at it that way, but a much needed 2-year process. Like I said, we would definitely catch up on some things, not everything, but at least we have start the ball kind of moving forward and not always backwards like we're doing right now.
So District 2, did you have a follow-up or are you good?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. District 3?
Yes, Mayor. So you're recommending a 3% increase for residential and 7% for business, which is a total of 10%. Correct?
I'm recommending a 3% for both residential and businesses, but the 7% will be to right size the invert the ratio right now between the residential and the commercial, where the commercial uses a lot more water, but they pay less. And like I said, I can't explain how we got there, where we are there. This would be very minimum. Y'all see the numbers here, what it would be. Roughly it's $3 over time frame, and the larger meters. So right now we're charging by the meters. So you're talking about the 8-inch meters, which is the big commercials, and up, $55, pretty much every year. So $150 in 3-year time period. So we're not asking much of them. We are asking them to start paying for what they use. I mean, a little bit more. So, and this is the recommendation that our engineering firm put together. Also, my engineering team upstairs, and I stand by them. This is a low, if you want to look at it that way. Mr. Powell, he did recommend a higher. He did recommend, if you look at his numbers, $20. He was talking about a 22% increase. That's because he's taking into account CPI and inflation. We're not really putting inflation in here. We're just trying to start the ball rolling as far as bringing extra revenue in.
Thank you. If I recall, Mr. Powell recommended, it was a flat rate depending on meter size using the I believe it's the ERU or the ERC methodology.
Yeah, ERU like stormwater, but right now we don't have the software to do that. That's what I'm saying. We don't have our meters are not aligned right now. That's why we need to get the software implemented and up running, new software for utilities billing, and then get our meters in place, and then we could change all that over. What he was saying was whoever uses most water should pay the most. It'll be by a gallon usage period without meter size to be included in the equation like we currently do right now.
So what is the software that we need to have implemented in order for this to happen?
So right now, the software is so we can read the meters.
Excuse me?
Software so we can read the meters better. So we can read the meters.
Right. What is the name of the software?
It's come with a Tyler. Everything's come with a Tyler.
It will be here, is what I'm hearing, but what we need to do is make sure when it gets here that it will be able to read those things. And then along with that, the statement that was made as Commissioner was asking the question was the ERUs and ERCs as things is what she made mention of.
Yeah.
Well, once that is implemented, this goes back to my original statement. The statement was go ahead and implement the first one that we've already mentioned.
Yes.
And then come back and do the other once we get the software up and running. And you said it would be within a year that we'd be able to do that.
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to finish with Commissioner District 3, and then I'll come back to District 2.
So even though we're in the process of getting Tower software implemented, you said the final implementation will be a year from now.
Yes, it was a 18-month to 2-year process. I briefed that from the beginning. We'll be giving y'all updates. It's going to be about 2 years to get everything implemented. But it's not just the Tyler software. It's the fact right now we'll be changing the meter software. Once we go with the new meter company, they got software too. So all that's got to get connected so that the meters can read again. And I bring that up because right now we can't read between 1,700 and 2,000 of our meters. So we're losing data. We're losing revenue on that as is too. So to get all that fixed first, so then you can go to total usage when you got all of your usage tracked properly. Right now we don't have everything tracked properly because our meters not working. And when I say 1,700 to 2,000, that's not the same 1,700 to 2,000. They flip flop. So it could be on this address it could work, and then they cut off today, the battery go dead, the transmitter stop, and tomorrow the other meter could come on. So the goal is to get all that stuff fixed first, so we have a total package and clear understanding of how much revenue we actually bringing in with the meters before we change how we bill them.
Thank you.
District 2?
Thank you. If we in reason, can we go ahead and call for a vote?
Well,
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying. I'm asking.
we can do consent on whether to bring it to the agenda tomorrow, and then we can go through the process tomorrow on the resolution that may be written. I think would there be a resolution for this?
I think there's already a resolution that we're traveling on. You just want to know whether or not to put it in the budget?
With the current resolution, it only states 1.5 adjustment every year
to
the commission. But I think it says it can vary. I got to look at it again.
Okay, so whatever wording needs to be changed, if
Yes.
there's a wording change that needs to be done, then we can have that done and we can bring it up to a vote tomorrow.
That's correct.
Okay. And so we can vote up or down, as long as we get a motion and second, and then we can move forward in that regard. Now, I think the commission is okay with putting it on I started to say the menu, on the docket for tomorrow. So obviously something's crossing my mind, but District 1, what are your thoughts?
Yes, I'm good with it.
Okay. And District 2?
Yes, sir.
District 3?
No.
Okay. And District 4?
Let's do this.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And Mr. Mayor, we already kind of covered the meter pilot update during the retreat just now. Next, Mr. Mayor, we're moving to the GDOT update. As you remember, we did do support letters for certain construction projects within the city of Waycross that GDOT was going to fund. I did provide a hard copy of those areas. I'll go ahead and brief on those kind of shortly here. The first project we were asking them to do, what they asked us to actually do, is to put those raised mediums down Memorial Drive. And you can see that on the map that you have there in front of you. And we agreed on this 6 months ago. But I need to make sure that we're still in concession with it, so I can get them to go ahead to start looking at the project scopes.
Mhm.
So, yeah, check on. Yeah, so mainly for Memorial would be to those raised mediums. You can see doing the map where it is, and then and those cuts in there to where people will be able to take turns and travel. Be honest, Mr. Mayor, it won't change much. Right now, we have the yellow lines out there. All they're gonna do is prevent everyone from driving across the yellow lines. It will make it safer for everybody. And then it goes up on the one end of Memorial, starting on the south side, and goes all the way up to the Kroger exit. And then the next thing they're working right now will be phase 2. They're still doing their study. Will be to go up Corridor Z and do the same thing. Raise mediums, fuel adjustment with our lights and all those things. They're still doing that study right now, but it's almost complete. So that was the first option. I just want to make sure with the commissioner are good on that, because they want to go ahead and start moving funding towards that. At the same time, they will be replacing some of the street lights there to better mitigate the new traffic flow patterns with the raised mediums. And again, it's not changing much. If you can imagine the yellow lines, which nobody should be crossing, but we know everybody does, it will simply make everybody have to go down and use the turnarounds or the turns, and those turns will be pretty much the same locations. Right there at Walmart, I think it's one there by the new hotel, I think it's by Applebee's, and there's one more. I think it'll be like four turns at that point.
I don't think we had any conflict about having the raised median.
We did, Mr. Mayor, but I just want to make sure before everybody's familiar with it. I know Commissioner Roberts was not here. We voted on this. I think Commissioner Nelson just got on when they brought this to us.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that we're good, so I can get them an okay. We did do a support letter to them, signed by then commissions, to go ahead and start that process. I'm just circling back to make sure everybody has not changed on their opinion on this.
Okay. And you just basically we're going to talk about having a support letter for the GDOT, which would say it's fine for us to raise the
We
medians.
did a support letter already, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
We did already. Just following back, make sure everybody's still in concession with it.
But if we've already voted on this, you're good. Let's
Okay.
move forward.
Next, Mr. Mayor, we did present Ozzie Davis, and you remember the district engineer came down and presented that to the commission about turning that into the center lane with one lane on each side, in similar configuration to Albany Avenue. And with that particular project, they were paying for all the utilities associated with that project, and that's in the tens and tens of millions of dollars. And as the commission knows, we're responsible for those utilities right now. And we definitely don't have the money to fix that. So they were going to change that from Plant Avenue all the way up to the new bypass. So they're going to put that in that bypass project, cost free to the city. So we did a support letter for that as well. Just once again, making sure that the commission is okay with that.
I think we're okay with anybody giving us money to take care of a need.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And like I said, the Corridor Z, the study has not been completed yet. There are other factors with the Corridor Z study doing for us, because they looked at they already approved doing the raised medians, but we did ask for some other speed coming techniques, infrastructure on that particular road. So they are looking at other things. Of course, they'll be changing the lights, adding the light, things like that. So they're trying to still figure that study out. Hopefully they get done with that pretty soon, and then we can bring to the commission what the total plan is for that.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Mayor, if there are no questions, I'll move on to the next agenda item.
District 1, did you have any questions?
No, sir.
District 2?
No, sir.
District 3?
No.
And District 5?
No, sir.
All
Thank you,
right.
Mr. Mayor. Next, Mr. Mayor, we have the Tiller Regional Water and Sewer Authority, a contract extension and contract modification. As you remember, we had we had a disagreement on the offloading of some of their waste material down at one of our lift stations. I did go out there. We did bring EPA out there. We had a conversation on where it should be. After talking to them, talking to my engineers, and looking at the total concept of it, we decided it would be best moving forward. They would bring all of their offloads to the plant, to the treatment plant. It's just too difficult. The way we're doing it now is just too easy for people to enter our system pretty much anywhere, and then we can't track a lot of that offload. So I did talk to the Steelers Regional Water and Sewer Authority. They're okay with it. They're ready to go. They understand why we're asking them to change how this policy works, because they kind of, although they kind of subcontract in the county with their vendors, and their vendors kind of look at it differently. But for us, like I said, it's manholes that are can't be locked. We can't see everything, so just best for the city that they bring all their sewage and their wastewater to the plant and offload it there. And like I said, everybody's in agreement with it. It's no misunderstanding. They just want to change modifications to the contract here and then sign the next extension. That's the only modification that we will be doing.
What do you need from the commission?
It requires your signature and my signature, Mr. Mayor, to do the change. And you have it on your desk right now?
I already signed it.
Okay. And I just wanted to let the commission know. And again, Mr. Mayor, we discussed this a few times already too, about what happened when they did that legal dumping out there. Are there any questions on that, Mr. Mayor?
I have none.
Okay.
Unless someone wants me to white out my signature.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Mayor. Next we move to the city retreat resolution. Currently we don't have like a resolution on how to conduct the city retreat. And I thought it might be best to go ahead and put that in a resolution to confirm those days. And a few other things we're gonna put in the resolution, just how we come up with the agenda and things of that nature. Because right now we just there's no like written documentation on how it's supposed to really run. And I talked to the other city managers in our support group, and they said we should have a resolution on the city retreat. First of all, for accountability, because it is an item that we pay for with city revenue, with taxpayers' dollars. So right now I'm just informing the commission we're gonna just put a resolution just outlining what the city retreat is. We'll stick to 2 dates in April and October, to those 2 dates, confirm to those 2 dates, depending on when they fall exactly in the calendar year. And that's really about it, Mr. Mayor.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, if there are any questions on that? We have no privilege license renewals. We have one privilege license, and I think everybody's excited about that privilege license. That business is finally coming to full operations. We have no proposed ordinances. We're gonna have 4 resolutions when we add the retreat resolution. Am I correct with that, Mr. Attorney?
That's correct.
Okay.
And you want that on tomorrow's agenda?
Yes.
Retreat?
Yes.
And I'll check with the commission on that resolution, making sure that.
Yes, sir.
Please.
And this is the resolution for
And that'll be for retreats,
retreats.
having them in April and October. And District 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And with that, Mr. Mayor, we're moving to the city attorney's report.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I just want to comment on the resolution to approve the transfer of real property located in Industrial Park. It's number 3 on your work session agenda. The Waycross Ware County Development Authority contacted the city last week regarding some property that was given to Waycross and Ware County after the war. It was the old Army base, which constitutes Industrial Park. And for the last 60-odd years, going back to 62, 63, somewhere around there, when some of the property was transferred, the Development Authority was under the impression that it owned this 4.39 acre tract, that a deed already covered that, and then they recently discovered that the title to this 4.39 acres is still in the name of Waycross and Ware County. And so Mr. Jason Rubenbeyer is asking that the County of Ware and City of Waycross go ahead and transfer this 4.39 acres as a matter of housekeeping, because they've always maintained control over that property for the last 60-something years, acted like it was theirs. They use it when they negotiate with various companies, and but they recently discovered that they don't actually have a deed to it, and so they're asking that the commission go ahead and approve a deed, a quitclaim deed, to transfer this property officially in their name, since it was apparently overlooked for some 60-something years.
Okay.
So that's the explanation behind that resolution that I wanted to make clear to the commission.
Yes, sir.
Any question, Mr. Mayor?
I have none. Is there any-
Next, Mr. Mayor, I'm moving to the city manager's report, and the daily report remains the same. Public Works is at full capacity, making great things happen in the city. You see the engineering. I did provide an update on the dirt streets last week, and then this morning to some commissioners who might did not receive my first email. You do see some of the permit and design coordinators here. A few businesses are coming in. You see the water and sewer. I did sit down, we plan to sit down with ESG this week. We recognize there are quite a few cuts that need to be redid, and that's going to be a priority over the next 60 to 90 days. We will be making sure that we stay on top of subcontractors who do that work sometimes, and make sure those cuts are done properly. So we did recognize that. Road paving again, and then the spot streets, and then our accounts is right now, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. There's a question from Commissioner. Yes.
Just a point of clarification, I noticed that in your report, if you go back one slide, please, it has there, for example, light equipment in Zone 3. Are we referring to districts?
No.
Could you just clarify that, please?
You wasn't there, Commissioner. My apologies. So we
Okay,
did change
thank you.
to the zone concept. So with the zone concept, we do the 4 zones: Zone 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we employ all our forces at that point in time to that particular zone. This allows us to complete that area in one day, in accordance with our 8 hours of work. So that math and science does work. Now that's when everybody's at work and we're full capacity. We get the whole zone done. Most of those zones is compiled of 2 districts. By doing this, like I say, we get more work done this way because we got everybody in the same area. We save on a lot of gas this way, so we're not spread thin. And then that also allows us to use Friday as the recovery day and a maintenance day, because based off of last year, we lost those 2 lawnmowers when they was going hard throughout the week, and sometimes weekends. It works better for our mechanics, and as you heard, the retreat, we kind of short on mechanics, so this is the best way to kind of give them time to have all the equipment back in the back in the public works to kind of make sure it doesn't blow up on us. So this was actually started by the previous public works director for a few months, and we did a test pilot on it. The new public works director, Matt, came in and kind of added a few more things to it. So like I said, it's working very well. We do start a little bit early. They come in at daylight, try to get the most they can right now. We won't really know how effective this can be until we get to the summer months. That's when we lose a lot of the employees. So hopefully this way of going, it keeps them out of the sun. And most of the time they're done, around 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock. And they're back into their areas, and that's when they go ahead and do other maintenance and stuff like that. And we plan to use that additional time to do training as well. So it's been a great initiative. Like I said, we get a lot more done than we ever did before. Eventually, once we get everybody to, come in every day, all the time, I think we're able to branch off into other areas that we can't, do, like, it might require more than once a week cuts. So some areas it might need it twice, especially in the summer months. So hopefully we get to that point.
And just to add, I know the question was what clarified whether the zone is a commission's district or not. Mm-hmm. And so what it seems like the definition of zone and the number of spaces, because you just said that it could include two districts at one time.
Yeah.
Maybe we can put, when you have a zone, in parentheses, what districts it's covering.
Okay, and we do
clarity.
have the maps.
Right, I've seen you.
Yeah,
put
we have the
those
maps
as
up
well.
so everybody can see the zones, and we'll put that back. I'll make sure the commissioners get it. I sent out a couple times before. We'll send out again, and we'll add that to that, Mr. Mayor. And like I say, like Zone 3 right now, that's pretty much some of District 2, District 3, and a little bit of District 5, just a little bit. Because if you can look at it, it's a pie shape. If you look at the city of Waycross, it's a big old full pie. Like
And you have it in quadrants?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen that map.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
Yeah, so that's all it is. And like I say, it's getting a lot of work done right now. I won't know the real results till the summer months come, because when it gets hotter, they'll move a little bit slower. But hopefully, that's not the issue. Like, we're going to start a little bit earlier, hopefully around 6 o'clock, and then we should be out of there done with the big stuff prior to the sun really hitting out there at 1 o'clock, 1 or 2 o'clock. So, last thing for the city manager report, Mr. Mayor, and we talked about this at the city retreat, but I want to talk about it for the public. So, we were alerted by Facebook that any live videos will be coming down due to storage issues with Google after 30 days. So that means if somebody made comments on that live video, those comments will be coming down, will be deleted too. There's nothing that the city can do about that outside of upload those videos on our YouTube channel, which we have. So, and we're trying to figure out how to do on Instagram as well. We have Instagram as well, but it's a little bit harder to upload videos on there for our space. But for any of those citizens who might see, I think a post got deleted, tell you right now, all of the live feeds are going to be at 30 days. They get pulled down.
That's not just for city. That's
everybody,
churches and everyone,
everybody,
because we've had lives taken down as well.
Yeah. So, but if they want to look back for any old meetings, we are uploading them on YouTube. They can't stay on YouTube as of right now. And they don't. If YouTube makes that same policy because of storage concerns, then we'll just download them here in our servers and maintain them that way. And with that, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have for the city manager's report.
I believe we have a motion needed for going into executive session.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. And this will be on
Personnel and property.
personnel and property. So at this time, I'll open the floor for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from our Commissioner Nelson and a second from our Commissioner Felder. Any questions before we go in? If not, we'll move into voting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. We're going into executive session. Thank you, everyone, for being present.